gentlemen. 41 years ago, my husband Pat and I moved here to Watauga County. We didn't know anyone here. We were having a hard time finding our way around. But I was a librarian and I needed a job. So I asked for directions to the public library. A friendly person told me it was on Water Street. We rode up and down Water Street. We never found the library. A couple of days later, with more directions, we would have known if we were local. You go in the courthouse annex to the second floor, turn down the hall, and the library was at the end of the hall, and there was a sign over the door. Well, inside that one-room library, there was the kernel of an excellent library system. I was lucky enough to get a job at that library. And when I'd been working a week or two or three, Ron Hester called me. He had a radio program, and he was always wanting to interview new people in the community. So he got me to come to WATA, and we sat down to talk. He said, well, let's just dream a little bit. What do you think a public library should be for its people? And so I thought about it, and I said, well, a public library ought to be a living room for the community, a place for everyone to come together, a place where people can come of all ages, ask questions, be entertained, get job solutions if they're looking for a job, story hours for their young children, and people of all ages and all backgrounds should be able to come to the public library. Well, 41 years have passed, and I want to tell you what, we have that dream. In Watauga County, we have that dream, and we are so fortunate. We have a vibrant public library, and we have a very active Western Watauga branch. We have a Friends of the Library group that's more than 500 strong, and that's paying every year their membership and being active in our programs and in our volunteer services. Just one example is our reading and enrolling program that Pat and I enjoy so much. Volunteers deliver books to 60 children in the county who are not able to get to the public library over the summer. And we do it 4 times a summer, so each child gets 40 books. And that's a lot of books. We have great support from our public library staff who fill those sacks and help us satisfy the needs of the children. We are so fortunate in this county with our library staff. They will bend over backwards to help the people of the county, and that's anybody of any age.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, the board will recognize Susan Foreman.
Good evening, I'm Susan Foreman, and tonight I'm not going to be here to talk about how important the library is to our community. I think everyone in the room knows that. I want to call your attention again to the handout Monica gave you and the need we have to support the incredible people who make the library possible. The youth services staff who help infants literally learn language through our infant toddler story time, who help preschoolers learn to love to read, who help your children and my children with their homework projects, and who find a safe and comforting and nurturing place for preteens and teens who love to read and write and have finally found a place that they can call home. Our adult services staff who help individuals get on those computers and apply for jobs, who help them learn how to use the technology of the 21st century, who can answer about any question you and I ask them and find a resource for us, and provide tax income services for the elderly and for our seniors. These people work 9 to 7, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Most of them have a bachelor's degree. 6 of them have a Master's of Library Science degree. One was the national winner of the Library Journal's Paraprofessional of the Year Award. One was the state winner of the William Roberts Distinguished Service Award. And one was the very first winner of our own local Friend of the Family Award. These people are incredible. The work they do is important. But if you look at the salaries, I'm not sure that's the message we're sending them. A full-time 40-hour-a-week youth services librarian makes $17,796 before taxes. Let me repeat that. $17,796 before taxes. That comes to a little less than $1,500 a month before taxes, and about $6,000 less than the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services lists as the poverty level for a family of 4. And it will be less next year if we don't help them out with their insurance costs, because the employees pay 5% of their own insurance. This is not a living wage for people who make living in Watauga County better for all of us. So when you think of the budget for the library and the additional monies that we're requesting, I'm asking you not to think of the books, the programming, the building. I'm asking you to think of the neighbors who work there, who provide services for us, and they deserve a living wage. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, board will recognize Lynn Mason.
And I have a handout for you I'll give at the end. I'm here tonight on behalf of Hospitality House, but also on behalf of all of our nonprofits in the community. Many of our community nonprofits are providing critical services in our community, meeting the basic and safety needs of our citizens. We are saving the county money by providing services that the county might otherwise have to provide. Nonprofits are businesses in our community that provide jobs like other businesses, spend money in our community, and improve the quality of life for all of us. And according to the North Carolina Center for Nonprofits, nonprofits make up 10% of our state economy. I come before you tonight knowing full well that you will stand by your decision not to fund Hospitality House for a 4th year in a row. My heart is heavy at times when I hear some of the comments made by some of the commissioners about those we serve. Often the most vulnerable in our community and so misunderstood. Those we serve are people first, often with life journeys that none of us can fully understand. We have no knowledge that Hospitality House has brought crime to that part of the county. No one has ever brought to our attention any concerns about crime. I need to ask, where did this information come from? If this is in fact the case, we stand ready to address it. National studies actually show housing the homeless reduces crime in communities, and law enforcement regularly brings individuals and families with children to us. And do you know that it cost Hospitality House half of what it costs to incarcerate an individual here in Watauga County? Of those we served in 2013, 58% came from Watauga County, using 75% of the bed nights. And all we asked was funding to cover 730 of over 10,932 nights of shelter and services to Watauga County residents. That's less than 7%. We are mandated by HUD to serve the 7 counties we serve and have been actively fundraising in Ashe, Avery, Wilkes, the counties that use our services the most, other than Watauga County. We have actually formally requested funding from Ashe and Avery County government. And we're also not an invitation to people all over the state that this is a place that will take care of me. In fact, we send people not from our service area back out to other shelters. When social services could no longer provide staff to administer Blue Ridge Electric's Operation Roundup for winter heating assistance, we stepped up to administer this program, administering $100,000 this past year in heating assistance. Just 1 second to close. And that's in addition to the $100,000 plus that we provide. And this is just to Watauga County. And I would just ask that you consider funding we can. $10,000 this year to help fund the staff position to administer these funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, board will recognize Majority McKinney.
I'm Marjorie McKinney, and
Marjorie, sorry.
that's fine. I was absolutely appalled to see that there was no support for Hospitality House. I'm going to talk to you as a volunteer. I've been a volunteer at the Hospitality House from its very beginning, and that's about 30 years. And during that course of time, I've had the opportunity to meet some of the most courageous people I've ever known, with very interesting stories, very tragic stories. Many of the people who come to Hospitality House are there because other systems that should function, like our criminal justice system, our mental health system, some of the social services systems are either not funded or just not functioning very well. These are people who've been kicked around quite a bit. They're people who, when they avail themselves to what the services are at the Hospitality House, very often are very thankful for what they've got. They learn to make better decisions. They learn to be productive people, often staying here in Watauga County, paying taxes, working hard, raising their families. They're people who really want to be productive and deserve to be. And I think that the county should stand up and show its compassion to these people. They're people just like you and I are. It's just that we're very privileged to be in a better place than they are. I urge you to go to the Hospitality House, sit in the foyer, talk to some of these people, hear their stories. You'll meet veterans from the Korean War to the present. There are a number of people that are served that are in that position, have nowhere else to go, but they find the support here at the Hospitality House. And I really would like to see our county stand up and say, we know these are people and we care about them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, the board would recognize Kathy Hanhan.
Hi, my name is Kathy Parham, and I'm the Executive Director and founder of the Children's Playhouse, and I also have a handout too, actually. Gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak before you this evening. Last week you voted to cut Watauga County's investment in the young children and families served by the Children's Playhouse to zero. Due to the change in the sales tax distribution you implemented last year, the town of Boone also no longer invests $4,000 per year in the Children's Playhouse or funds any nonprofit. Next year, there will be zero public investment from our local governments in the work of the Children's Playhouse. As you finalize that step, I would like you to make sure that you know what the $2,500 investment you made last year, this fiscal year, has yielded for the families of this county. It's been a shrewd investment for Watauga County. In every case, we have used your investment and leveraged it to multiply its impact. For every dollar you gave us this fiscal year, we leveraged $35 in benefit to the citizens of this county. Let me break it down for you, and this is in the handout I've passed out. The Playhouse has a very small staff, 5 part-time employees, including myself. Your $2,500 is used for a little over 300 hours of staff time. But because we have a staff, we are able to mobilize an army of volunteers, nearly 300 this year, contributing over 2,000 hours in services to Watauga citizens. Everything from child development majors to PhDs. 55 expert volunteers provided music, science, nutrition, and art programs for us this year. The total value of volunteer time donated to the Children's Playhouse was $20,838,000. We also apply our ingenuity to serve young families in new and exciting ways. Just 5 weeks ago, the Playhouse organized the first ever Build Fest, in the poster you see with you, a science, technology, engineering, arts, and math festival for kids 2 to 12. This free activity attracted 1,000 attendees from Watauga County. Because of our staff and dedicated board, and because of the importance of our mission, we are able to make up the difference between the $2,500 in government support with $67,948 in donations, fundraisers, donated supplies, and discounted rent. From the families who can afford to contribute, we collect small membership fees and admission fees if they're visiting for the day, totaling $21,000 year to date. But over 30% of our members are at the federal poverty level or below, and for those we give away free memberships, 61 families this year.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, the board recognizes Butch Butler.
Good evening. You guys are good. First, I'm Butch Butler. I'm the treasurer and one of the board members at the Community Care Clinic. I think most of you know what we do. We provide medical home for about 1,000 citizens of Watauga County currently. We've just come off a 26% growth in office visits. And at that same time, we've dealt with a complete loss of support from the town. Funding from the county is substantial to us, and what's recommended is substantial, but it's still a substantial reduction from where we used to be. We're running a slight deficit this year. Our year will end June 30, largely as a result of that shift in the governmental funding. I've worked with, as a volunteer, and supported nonprofits for 35 years. I've never been involved with an organization that I've seen have greater impact on people's lives and feel such a critical need. There's no place for these people to go. They just can't simply afford health care in our current situation, even with the Affordable Care Act. And it's just a tremendous backbone of service to the community. But we want to thank you for the support that's proposed. We'd like to think you can come up with more. I know from being here tonight there's just a lot of need. But this really is a tremendous service being provided to about 1,000 people from Watauga County. That's all I'm going to say. We'll save a little time for someone else.
Thank you, sir. Next, the board recognizes Joseph Miller.
Good evening. Thanks for the time. I'm here representing High Country Crime Stoppers. High Country Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit or not-for-profit 501c3. We do raise money and pay out monies to people who give tips to help solve crimes that may or may not result in an arrest and recovery of property. We're here exclusively for the support of law enforcement to help them to get what they need. We do serve Watauga and Avery counties. Those are the two areas that we serve. In your packet, you will see that I brought a letter of support from Sheriff Hageman regarding a new software program that we're trying to put in place for the 7 law enforcement agencies in Watauga County as well as the agencies in Avery County. The program is called TipSoft, or the software is called TipSoft. And what it will do is it will bring our High Country Crime Stoppers organization into the 21st century. Currently, the way people give tips to Crime Stoppers is they'll call into the Crime Stoppers number, which is often given out either on the radio, through the newspaper, or on Go Blue Ridge. I believe the number's there as well. And people will call in, leave a tip with the dispatcher or someone. It's always left anonymously. It's then up to the coordinator to get that information to the correct agency so that that information can get out and hopefully an arrest can be made. What TipSoft will allow is for people to send in a tip either via text, email. They can still call in. It is still confidential. We do not capture their information via TipSoft. However, it will also allow for a two-way dialogue between the tipster and the law enforcement agency or the coordinator who's sending it in. I have also given you information regarding TipSoft there. The TipSoft app, which is a smartphone app, which is also available for download for not only law enforcement, but for community members as well who are interested, can then get automatic alerts onto their cell phones as to something that may be going on within the community. The law enforcement agents, the policemen, the deputies, whoever it may be, will also have the ability to get instant tips when they come in. It can be sent to their cell phones or their smartphones immediately so they can begin acting on it right away. The cost of this program is $1,200. It's an initial $1,500, which High Country Crime Stoppers has already voted to fund for getting it in place and to take care of for this immediate calendar year. We're asking for Watauga County to help us by funding $500 in your budget, not only this year but in ongoing years, to help keep it going. It is $1,200 a year for the new licensing fee. If we tried to do this, or if you tried to do this for Watauga County, first of all, it would be limited to the sheriff's office only. They would be the only ones that would be able to access the information, and the cost of that would be roughly $3,200, so it's a lot more expensive. We're able to do, and that would be for all of the 7 agencies. Each of the 7 agencies would incur a licensing expense if we did it this way. Because the software company allows organizations like Crime Stoppers to buy the program for our agencies, we can do it at a much more cost-effective price and be able to provide it for all of the agencies in Watauga and Avery counties. So we're asking for Watauga County to fund, again, $500 annually to help offset the cost of the TipSoft software for all of the agencies here. We're also asking Avery County to do the same, and we'll address that with them at their commissioners meeting as well. I'll be glad to answer any questions, but I hope all the information is here that you may need.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Next board recognizes John Cooper.
Good evening, gentlemen. I just want to follow up on our report to you on the 6th of May. I was unable to attend. I understand there were some concerns and some questions. I just want to run through a little bit about the theater. The Appalachian Theater, when open, will seat 650 plus guests. We will have a community room that will serve the community. It will provide a stage for local groups, regional and even national prominent groups of national prominence. With that size stage, it's larger than the Diana Wortham Theater in Asheville. Diana Wortham and other venues in Asheville are taking our lunch and our dinner because people are going there, tourism is going to their area instead of ours. We need this facility very badly. We have outdoor venues. We have, ASU has venues that are open for mainly their uses. And you know what the economic impact is of having Appalachian Summer for 1 month. This will give us an impact for 12 full months. And with the loss of the Broyhill Inn and Conference Center, there is no longer conferences and conventions coming to this area. We can host those in conjunction with our stage, audience room, and our community room. Our architect has done over 13 theaters. He specializes in that. He's said that he will provide us one of the nicest venues of its size in North Carolina. We have that opportunity. He also said that he has never worked on one that didn't have county or town support. Now, we've had town support. We don't have any county support. We're asking you to support this. This is about economic development. This will create jobs in the community. The Shelby Theater, it's the Don Gibson Theater. Immediately after it opened, 4 restaurants opened in the Shelby downtown as a result of that directly. It will put heads in beds. It will put people in the restaurants, and furthermore, it will provide a stage for our local talent that hasn't had that. So it's going to provide revenue for our talent. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions. I do want to state two things more if I had the chance. One is that parking is abundant at night. We have the Rayleigh lot opens their gates at 4:45. The town hall opens their gates at 5. We do have a budget. I'll be happy to sit down with any of you. We have a working budget for 3.5 years. Billy Kennedy has sat on our board as ex officio member. I don't think he's missed a meeting. He has seen that we have a great plan moving forward, great architectural plans. It's going to be an amazing theater, and I would think you would want that as your legacy of helping that to happen. It'll be an amazing thing for this community. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you.
Next board, we recognize Laura Hodges.
I'm Delora Hodges, and I do represent the Watauga County Board of Education. And I just want to say thank you for allowing us to come tonight and speak. And also, Dr. Warren couldn't be here, so he asked that I would come. And I think y'all have been notorious for your support of Watauga County Schools, and we just at this time want to say thank you for that. And I also want to say what I came in tonight to do was appeal to you, and when I walked in, I was told that that wasn't going to be necessary. So I wanted to still come and say thank you for being flexible and trusting us and working together with us to resolve the conflict that we had with the use of Hardin Park School and your vote to withhold the $50,000. And we just want to make it known that we appreciate y'all reinstating that and working with us in that. I think the relationship between the Watauga County Commissioners and the Board of Education has been a good one for many years, and y'all have always been very supportive of our schools, and we want to say thank you for that. And as in any good relationship, you have to be flexible and trust each other and work together, and I believe that's what we are doing, and that's what y'all have done with us. And so we just want to say thank you as we serve together the wonderful children and the families of Watauga County. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next board, recognize Tina Kraus.
My name is Tina Kraus, and I presently serve as the Director of Services for Hospitality House. And soon I will assume the role as Executive Director for the shelter. I thought a lot about why people are so strong and opinionated about Hospitality House serving homeless people. I think some folks really want people to be accountable, and we agree with that. We are building our services around the accountability model. That's part of my job. It helps people to grow, and it helps keep them moving forward in rebuilding their lives. Over half of those we're serving in the emergency shelter right now have a source of income. There's some other reasons, though, that we serve homeless people and those in crisis. There was a quote I heard last week from Carl Hanna that just seemed to fit it best. Because of our neighbors' need exist, and because each neighbor is unique, we have to be flexible. We're meeting a critical need. We're filling every cot and floor space during the bitter winter that we had this last year. And we did that so people wouldn't freeze. We've cheered people on as they graduated. We're teaching people how to do things for themselves so that they can get a little bit of pride back in their lives. And for some people, we're their family, and we're speaking truth back into their lives so that, and we say it in a caring way that helps to guide them and help build them back up so that they can get back on their own feet. Thankfully, we aren't doing this alone. The community comes inside our doors, and on a daily basis, they're there sharing their talents and their time. I believe that's what we're supposed to do. That's how I was raised. And I was raised not to cross the road and look the other way when our neighbor's in trouble. This morning at the shelter, we had a 68-year-old resident become ill, and she had to go to the hospital. And as I looked at her when they were wheeling her out, and I said, "You just need to call us when they let you go, and we'll come get you." She looked up at me, and tears rolled down her face. Like, "I don't understand." And I said, "You call us and we'll come get you when they let you go." And she said, so I'll call you and you'll come help me get back here. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she squeezed my hand as they rolled her out. And that reminded me of what I was going to say tonight. We're meeting people's needs. We're meeting neighbors' needs. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. And more, people like that lady who had to go to the hospital this morning, that's the face of homeless. That's the face we're seeing as, and those are the people that we're serving. We're walking side by side with people. And we ask you to please come inside our doors and see that for yourselves. And let me answer any questions you have.
Thank you. That concludes